Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Wednesday, June the 24th, 2026. We still have about 10 seconds until the stock market actually opens. I know I'm starting just a tiniest little bit ahead of schedule today out of necessity. This is going to be a really short podcast because I have some people coming to my house to do some work today, and I have some prep work to get ready for that. I think you might have heard in the background there the opening bell. If you've been up and you've been watching futures, it has already been kind of an interesting morning to watch futures. Things have gradually slid somewhat steadily. An hour ago, the Dow was up over 100 points. The NASDAQ was up a couple of hundred points. The S&P was up, I want to say about 25 points. And then it's just very steadily and very gradually slid to the downside. And it's a little bit odd to me because during that same amount of time, that exact same time period, oil has not by a lot, but has been steadily moving down. Oil was when I looked at futures about an hour and a half ago, oil was around 73, and it's just continued to come down. It's $70 a barrel now, and continuing down. It might break under 70, which would put it below where it was just prior to things starting in Iran. So interesting that for a second day in a row, oil is down, and yet so are the market averages, and it really blows a major hole, and I mean a major hole in the theory that if oil is down, the markets are up, and vice versa. That is simply not the case right now. So it's just a really, I would call this all a very, very flat start to the day. I think people are kind of sitting, I want to say, for lack of a better way to describe it, I think people are kind of sitting on their hands, watching and waiting to see what Micron does. Micron has been a huge, huge market mover over the past, year and a half. And so I think all eyes are on Micron and what their earnings are going to be at the end of this week. And so, or excuse me, at the end of this day. And so we like everybody else, I think, just need to keep an eye on that. And I know because of that anticipation, because so many people are kind of sitting there saying, what's going to happen? Where are we going to be after Micron reports? What's going on? I think it's making it really difficult to get into some of the types of trades that we want to get into. We've tried for several days in a row to get into trades on Boeing. We've tried some trades on Micron. I'm trying to remember now who else I put out a trade on. It's just been really tough. Even though we've seen the mid price on these trades on multiple occasions, the mid price has gone down below where we have been trying to get in. Nothing has been filling for us. It's been really, really tough with the high volatility to get things to fill. Let me give this updated. I know this has a little bit of a delay. It does look like everything is turning positive now, kind of going back in the direction of what futures were. AMD started a little bit negative. Now they're up $4 a share. NVIDIA started flat. Now they're up $1 a share. So, this is not a huge, massive upswing. It's a good start to the day. I know we have not been successful in opening any new trades this week so far, but hang in there. I'm going to try again today. I've got some trades that look very attractive to me. But I'm going to be purposely very stingy on limit prices. I'm not going to enter into these trades if I don't like where, I'm not going to compromise the limit orders that I set up to get into these trades just for the sake of having something fill. I'll give you an example. I haven't put it on Discord yet, but I'm looking at Boeing again. And Boeing is up about $3 a share, trading at $219 and a little bit of change. I'm looking at a 220 220, 250 bull call and a 215 to 1250 bear put. So long iron condor out in July 17th, giving it about 2.5 weeks. And pre-market, that trade, the mid price was around $1.85. I would go as high as $1.95 to $2, but I'm not going to compromise on that one and be willing to do anything less or anything more than $2. Right at the open, with Boeing being up a few bucks a share, the mid price jumped to 237 and a half. That's not a good risk to reward ratio for what I'm looking to do. So that's just one example. I'm going to continue to look at other things. I'm going to continue to look for other trades. I think there are a lot of good potential trades out there, but I don't want to be directional. I think this market could roll over and go bearish, but there's not a guarantee that it will do that. I think it's likely, but it's not a guarantee. And individual stocks could overcome a trend like that and lean more bullish in the midst of an overall bearish move. So you got to approach what we're doing with caution. You've got to be very smart, very careful getting into trades. Don't be willing to sacrifice those limit orders and stay somewhat stingy on that. And that's going to be, we might not get into a new trade this week. Like I said, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to spend. I've got to do a little bit of prep for, like I said, a person that's coming to do some work here. As soon as I'm done with that, I'll be back in front of the computer. So maybe half an hour to an hour from now, I'll be back in front of the computer. I'll spend the next couple hours after that looking for new trades, seeing if I can find some things that I really like the strike price on, that I really like the limit orders on, and we will for sure try to get into some new trades today, and try to have some new things open that we can work on. But I'm going to be perfectly okay if trades don't open. I'm going to be okay if what we try and get into doesn't get filled, because we're still going to have a lot of opportunities. If we see the market start to roll over, in a meaningful way, we'll get into some bearish trades. We'll do some in the money bear put spreads, the opposite of the in the money bull call spreads that we've done recently. We'll do some bear put calendars and some regular horizontal put calendars. We'll take advantage of a bearish movement in the market if that's what the market starts to give us. But we'll wait until we see a little bit more of a rollover to do that. I do think the rest of this summer will be more bearish than bullish. And then I think we're going to have a big, big, strong finish to the end of the year. So we'll see how that all plays out. All right. I told you this would be short. I'm going to wrap it up right there. I might not be able to get this online until I'm done getting some stuff ready for a contractor. But I will be online watching Discord the majority of the day, or posting things on Discord the majority of the day. So have a good rest of your Wednesday. Excited to talk about how the market reacts to Micron when we're looking at that tomorrow morning. So have a great rest of your Wednesday, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.